How you doing, folks? This is John Dunleavy from SQLTech Consulting, and today I'm going to be reviewing a product by Redgate. It's called Redgate SQL Compare. This is version 8.1, which is their latest and greatest from their schema comparison toolkit. They also make a product that does data compare. Today I'm only going to be going over the schema comparison. What this product could be used for is if you have different environments. You have one for your development environment, one for your integration environment, one for your validation environment, one for your QA environment, one for your user acceptance environment, and finally you have your production environment. Different companies have different levels of testing. Those are the ones that I'm used to using today. But this product allows you to have comparison between the different environments, so then you can have differential builds. A lot of companies that can't afford TFS, really. This is a nice product. It only costs $395, and it's a really powerful tool. So I'm just going to go ahead and start the comparison toolkit here. Or actually, this is just this SQL Compare. So today I'm going to be looking at two different databases, both on my local server. One's called Test, the other one's called TestDB1. You can do comparisons between different databases, between scripts, snapshots, or even a backup. If you had a backup of a database and you just want to do a comparison against that, you can do that as well. Some things that I like to set in my options: I like to force the column order, and I like to ignore the comments. One thing I did notice about the comments is it really prefers the comments to be written in /* type of format, and it doesn't seem to like the 2- type of comments. But you can still use it, and it shows you the differences, so you just have to be more careful when you're selecting the objects that you want. So and then there's owner mapping. For this example, all the owners are going to be identical, so it's not going to come into as a factor. So I'm going to go ahead and start the compare. Shouldn't take too long at all. Very small comparison. So we have two objects that exist in both but are different. One that exists in tests and doesn't exist in the other. And you have 29 identical objects. You can filter out different object types. Say for instance you're not interested in stored procedures, you can get rid of the stored procedures. I'm just going to include everything. Another nice thing is with the 8.1 is now you can share your filters across different projects. Previously you had to have a different project, different set of filters for each project that you had. This is nice, so you can share it across different environments or different projects rather. This gives you the ability to have roll back and roll forward scripts, which is nice. You can just click on the arrow and it goes the other way. So then when you start your synchronization wizard, you have the object to create your scripts or synchronize inside of SQL Compare. I like to just create my scripts beforehand in case when you go through a production deployment, it's nice to have the scripts already ready for the deployment, and then you just run the scripts. And then if you have the rollback scripts, it's nice to, you can just roll back the schema changes. If it was any data changes, then of course you'd need a restore, or an object recovery restore too. But that's another subject. So anyway, I'm going to start out, and show you if there was any dependencies here. You could check this. It's grayed out here because I don't have any dependencies. But dependencies are things like, say you had two objects that were referenced in a view. If you change the underlying objects, then you have to refresh the view. Or if there were any other like orphan tables, not orphaned, basically parent-child relationship, like so child tables. If they were referenced by the parent and they were dependent upon, objects that were in the parent, then it would make sure they're all synced up as well. So I'm just going to hit next. And there's a warning here telling me that I'm going to rebuild this table. Yes, I know. That's because one of the objects is actually a change in the fields, and that's going to do a rebuild. Sometimes that's going to cause some extra time. So if you had, for instance, some indexes on there and had to do a rebuild, it's going to have to rebuild all of your indexes, things like that. So anyway, I'm just going to open this up, and I'm going to just save this file. Save. Or rather, I'm going to save as and roll forward. I'll just save it as my roll forward script. Yes. And I'll go back here and I'll change it back again. And this is my rollback script. Same stuff. Use the objects. Next. And open an editor. And save as rollback. Whatever, it's fine for now. So it gives you the opportunity to save your scripts for deployment, and then you have a rollback and a roll forward script. You can also save off the stuff if you're organizing your releases and what's in a hotfix, different things like that. You have the scripts that are required to do different versioning of your database schemas. So I'm going to go through the different objects here. We have, let me open up. So we have 29 identical objects. They're all the same, so there's not going to be any differences there. Then there's an object that exists in the test database. It doesn't exist in the test DB1, so it would have to create it. Clearly shows it with these arrows that go across that show that it needs to move it across into the other one because it doesn't exist. These are objects that exist in both but are different. For instance, in this store procedure, it's referencing table T1, and this one's referencing table F1. So it's really nice. It's really easy to identify differences. And say you didn't want to include certain objects, you could uncheck them here. Or if there were a group of different objects, you got the store procedures you're not interested, you can take the store procedures out. So you can also synchronize these. If you have the scripts, you can schedule them to be changed. But a lot of times if they're going to production, you're going to have to be there. And you can synchronize right with the product itself as well. And you can make a backup before the synchronization. I'm not going to do a backup today. I'm just going to make the changes. So I'm going to hit next, next, and there's a table rebuild because one table has a difference for the field. Field name is different, so it has to recreate the table. So I'm going to go ahead and synchronize now. And it's also nice that this deployment is in a batch. So if there is one failure, everything gets rolled back. So you don't have to be concerned with, okay, I released something and I got a failure somewhere else. Well, with this, it's all in a transaction, so it will roll back if there's any failures. So I'm just going to synchronize now. And then everything's identical now. So that's Redgate SQL Compare. Thanks a lot for watching, and tune in next time.